Imagine playing music with no ads, no bullshit restrictions, no weird AI features nobody needs, and no trackers selling your data behind your back, all for free. Sounds too good to be true, right? Because today, Spotify has turned that into a fantasy. You pay more money for AI-generated songs nobody likes and podcasts you never asked to see. That's why two anonymous, pissed-off developers decided to fight back. They built a service that bypasses corporate greed called xmanager. It basically gives you old Spotify back. All the premium features, no ads, no payment, with a few taps on your phone. And obviously, Spotify hates that. Millions of users getting the real experience for free? Yeah, that's a corporate nightmare. So today, we'll learn when Spotify decided to abandon its users, how xmanager works, and why Spotify doesn't want you to know it exists. Now let's go back in time when Spotify actually did its job. The app was founded in 2006 by Daniel Ek with one simple goal: make music accessible to everyone. After launching in 2008, it felt revolutionary. No more sketchy websites, no more viruses disguised as MP3 downloads. Spotify didn't just compete with piracy. It killed it. People loved it because you could listen to unlimited music for free. The ads were annoying, but tolerable compared to what it is today, and paying for the premium version was worth it. No ads, offline downloads, better audio quality. But listeners weren't the only people who benefited from this service. Even smaller artists had a massive room to grow with Spotify's playlists and sharing features. But after 2017, the company realized something. The users and artists were already locked in. They had no equal alternative to switch to even if they wanted to. And that's the time when the company stopped listening to users' requests and started building something else. In just the last 2 years, Spotify's prices have jumped up by around 30%. This would be fine if the value also matched the price, but they started adding AI features that nobody asked for, and you can't even disable them. There's a massive rising tendency of AI-generated songs and playlists that people don't want to listen to. They started pushing podcasts and videos that have nothing to do with music. And meanwhile, Spotify claims that they bring the value people pay for. For most users, opening Spotify is no different than opening TikTok now. A former employee even revealed how the CEO sees the company. Our only competitor is silence. Let that sink in. According to this employee, Spotify doesn't see itself as a music platform. It sees itself as a time-filling machine. That's why Spotify's goal is not to help you find the music you love. It's to keep you on their platform, scrolling for as long as possible. So instead of discovering great songs, you get whatever fills the silence, and you're paying more for it. Meanwhile, your data quietly gets sold in the background. You may think this is the worst they could have done, but it gets even worse. Because users aren't the only people getting squeezed by corporate greed. Your subscription doesn't directly support the artists you listen to. Most of that money flows to top-streamed artists and publishers. In fact, Lily Allen has about 10 million monthly listeners on Spotify, but she makes more money selling feet pictures to 1,000 OnlyFans subscribers than she does from streaming. And all of this combined made certain developers angry. In 2020, an anonymous Android developer created xmanager alongside a contributor known as Sherlock Holmes. Their goal? The same one Spotify started with: make music accessible again for normal people. No trackers that sell your data, no ads, no AI-generated garbage. Just unlimited music that matches your taste, for free. You get unlimited skips, replays, lyrics, full control, everything. Even their unofficial UI has better user experience than the original one. Why? Because it's not trying to hijack your attention every 5 seconds. In fact, users are free to downgrade the version or even disable some features if they want to. Now try doing that on official Spotify. Spoiler, you can't. But here's the problem. Millions of people started using it, and Spotify noticed. They didn't like people were actually enjoying music, but not on their official platform. In a sense, they are right, because xmanager is not a separate app, it's a modded Spotify, which is the same as piracy. And yet, taking it down isn't that simple, because the way xmanager works is completely different from modded services like Revanced for YouTube. xmanager isn't some shady hacker tool, and it doesn't directly hack Spotify's servers. Think of it like this: xmanager doesn't let you break inside the place by force. It disguises you in a way that makes the guard think you are an official, and lets you in. But more technically, xmanager developers modify the official versions of Spotify manually. Even though the versions of Spotify's aren't public, literally anyone can extract APK files from their Android device and save it as a version. After the dev team gets the official APK extract, they start modifying the client-side code. They do it in a way that your client side lies to Spotify's server side. If there's a limitation for free users, they remove the simple if statement that checks the limitation. They also block the requests that try to fetch the ads on your device. Then they save and host these patched versions in their own database. So every time you choose and download a Spotify version from xmanager, you're making a request to a URL that fetches this already tweaked APK file from their database. And you don't even need rooting for all of this. That's why it even allows users to log in with their normal accounts. But this service got too much attention, and Spotify decided to take action to save their precious users. After all, they care about your experience more than the money they print, right? Now, Spotify and xmanager are at constant war. Today, Spotify can detect if you've been logged in with a modded version of the app, and they will send you a warning if you're using xmanager. Ignore it, your account gets banned permanently. They also push updates that break xmanager features. This forces the xmanager team to constantly readjust the broken features. Sometimes xmanager users face bugs before the team fixes them. It's an endless loop, a cat and mouse game that never stops. In 2025, Spotify even went after another modding project, Revanced. They sent a DMCA takedown notice, and the Revanced team was forced to remove Spotify support from GitHub. Spotify based its legal argument primarily on client ID spoofing. Basically, they claimed the app was pretending to be an official Spotify client, and that violated their protection systems. They barely even mentioned the actual modifications of the service. But here's the twist. xmanager doesn't expose itself that way. Its public GitHub code doesn't even directly reference Spotify, and they are using hidden messages throughout the files. The code itself doesn't directly contain any Spotify patches. The patches are hosted elsewhere. So xmanager is just a wrapper that makes requests to the database endpoints where you get the actual patches from. That's why DMCA won't work against xmanager, because they aren't showing any modified files publicly. Now, this kind of battle has one clear winner, and it's not you, not the users who just want to listen to the music. We are the ones on the losing side, because our data gets sold, we pay more for less, and now we are forced to look for illegal alternatives that work better than the original one. But the actual artists are at greater loss in this case. They already earn very little, and with a growing amount of people moving to xmanager, their revenue isn't getting any better. The clear winner here is Spotify itself. A few millions of illegal users isn't something that could even dent the company. If anything, it gives them an excuse to push prices even higher. And if they fight xmanager too aggressively, they risk making it more popular. The more people will know about it, the worse for the main company. So instead, they stay quiet and manually handle the minimal damage it causes. But the problem is that this will last forever, like a cat and mouse game. And here's the crazy part. This entire problem can be solved with just listening to your users who make your company grow. That's literally it. Just look at Valve with Steam. They don't fight piracy, they outcompete it. That's why nobody bothers pirating games there anymore. It's not just piracy. Even legal competitors are no match for Steam because it has prioritized user experience all along.